Welcome back. We were discussing integrals of simple functions. So, we said a function is simple if it has the following form: f of omega equal to sum over I equals 1 through n little a I indicator of a I of omega. Okay. So, and we defined integral f d mu. If mu is some measure on the space, we define integral f d mu as sum over I equals 1 through n a I mu of a I. Okay. Now, so note that so a simple function inherently, so if you assume that this function f is written like this in its canonical representation, it always partitions the sample space into n parts. So, if you the omega, so if that is my omega, right, and that is my r, and so what will happen is that may correspond to a 1, right, and all of this will map to some value a 1, right, and that may be a 2 and that will correspond to some little a 2 and so on, right. So, this function partitions my sample space into n partitions, right, a n will map to some a n, right, and so on. Now, we are going to talk about a simple random variable next. Okay. A simple random variable is nothing but a simple function defined on a probability space. Okay. After all, random variable is a function defined on a probability space. A simple random variable is simply a simple function, that is all, right. So, a simple random variable omega f p, let us say, will have the form x of omega equal to sum over I equals 1 through n little a I of omega, where a I is greater than or equal to 0 here too, right. So, a I is greater than or equal to 0 and a I is in f. So, here a I's are events. Okay. A random variable which has this kind of a form is called a simple random variable, and again a simple random variable will partition the sample space into n partitions a 1 through a n, and all the omegas in a I correspond to the random variable taking value little a I. Okay. So, this simple random variable takes only n values, some finite number of values on the real line, right. So, a simple random variable is obviously a discrete random variable, but not all discrete random variables are necessarily simple random variables. Why? So, a discrete random variable could take countably infinite values, right, whereas a simple random variable can only take n values, some finite number of values, correct. So, a geometric random variable is discrete, but it will not be simple in our description, correct. Okay. So, this is a simple random variable, and for a simple random variable we have, if x is simple, expectation of x, which is defined as integral x d p, will become, so this I already told you, right. Expectation of x is simply integral of this function with respect to the probability measure p. The mu is now p and f is now x, your random variable, right, will be now what will be sum over I equals 1 through n a I p of a I, right. So, this will be sum over I equals 1 through n little a I p of a I, right. But a I can write as the set of all omegas for which x is equal to little a I, correct. So, this can be written as I equals 1 through n little a I probability of all omegas for which x of omega equals little a I. Okay. So, that is your expectation of a simple random variable. Okay. So, in other words, in shorthand we can write this as sum over a I probability that x is equal to a I. Okay. Or you can write this in terms of the PMF p x of little a I. Okay. Is this clear? I am just applying this definition, okay, with me. So, that is the expectation of a simple random variable. It is after all follows from the definition of the integral of a simple function. Okay. Now, we have to move on to more general functions, okay, functions which are not necessarily simple functions. We will talk about first integrals of non negative measurable functions. Okay. Let g from omega to r union plus or minus infinity be a non negative measurable function. Let S of g be the set of all simple functions q from omega to r union plus minus infinity such that g of omega greater than or equal to q of omega for all omega. Okay, so, what I am going to do, so I am given some arbitrary non negative measurable function, I want to define integral g d mu. Okay. So, what the way I am going to define this is by approximating this non negative function from below with simple functions. Okay. So, I am going to, if you give me a non negative function g, I will ask you to go and collect all those simple functions q which are less than or equal to g pointwise. Okay. So, this just means that q is less than or equal to g of omega. So, q is less than or equal to g pointwise, right. So, you go and collect all such q, okay, and call that collection S of g. So, this will be a collection of all, this will be a collection of simple functions. So, this is the collection of all simple functions which are less than or equal to g pointwise. Okay. So, and I am going to define, so definition integral g d mu is defined as supremum supremum q in S of g integral q d mu. Okay. That is my definition of the integral. So, this is a definition that is very hard to use in practice, but it is nevertheless a definition which will help us prove properties of the integral right away. So, let me help you understand this definition. So, as I said, S of g is the collection of all simple functions which are less than or equal to g, okay. And integral q d mu, where q is a simple function, you know what it is. So, you go ahead and evaluate q integral q d mu for all the q's in S of g, okay. So, you will get a, for each q you get a number, correct. So, as you vary q through S of g, you will get a collection of numbers, real numbers or maybe infinity, right. So, you get a collection of numbers. Now, that collection of numbers has a supremum, right, because every collection of real numbers has a supremum, correct. So, that supremum is called the integral, is defined as the integral of g d mu, okay. So, the reason I say, so this is mathematically perfectly well defined, right, but on the other hand this is very difficult to use in practice. So, if I give some function g of x is equal to x squared or something, you have to go ahead and hunt for all functions, simple functions which are less than or equal to that function, and you have to evaluate the integral, that may be an uncountable collection of functions, right, and you have to evaluate those integrals and find the supremum of those numbers, correct. So, it is not a practically useful definition, but it is nevertheless a definition that helps us prove a number of properties about integrals, okay. We will later see that this will lead to a more practically useful definition of the abstract integral as well, okay. For now this is a mathematically consistent, but practically useless kind of a definition, but we will prove some properties with this definition. So, one thing I want to point out is that this supremum may not be attained, right. The supremum exists, but that supremum may not be attained for any particular q in S of g, right. There may not be a particular simple function which attains this supremum, right, but it is well defined nevertheless. Properties. So, I will state some properties of the integral itself, and because we are studying probability, I will specifically state it for the case of random variables and probability measures. So, that is something that is more useful to us, right. So, first I want to say that, so if A belongs to F, then integral I A d mu is equal to mu A, okay. And what is the probability version of the statement? So, this is for any measure, and I am going to state this now for a probability space. What will this look like? So, if A is an event, if A is an event, expectation of I of A, which is this, I A dP will be into expectation of I of A, isn't it, is equal to what? P of A, probability of A, right. Is it clear? Mu of A will be P of A, right, because I am talking about a probability measure, and integral I A dP will be the expectation of the random variable, indicator random variable I A, okay. So, the expectation of the indicator random variable is always the probability of the expectation of the indicator random variable of event A is always equal to the probability of A, right. How do you prove this? Sometimes when things are so trivial you get confused, right. So, this is already in the, so if you have I A, it is already in the simple form, right. So, it is like saying f of omega equal to I A of omega, correct. So, the integral is simply equal to mu of A, correct. It is a direct consequence of the definition of the integral, right. There is practically nothing to prove here, fine. Second, if G is non negative measurable, then integral G d mu is non negative, and in this case I am going to say if x is a non negative random variable, then what expectation of x is non negative. So, do you see, I mean these two are the same statements effectively. I am just, this is for a probability space, this is for some arbitrary measure space. Okay. Now, how do you prove that? So, the reason this is true is because you are taking essentially the supremum over. So, these simple functions will have they will all be non negative, and you are taking non negative supremum over a set of non negative numbers. Okay. So, this will follow. Okay. Is that clear? This is also very trivial. If G equals 0, mu almost everywhere, then integral G d mu equal to 0. So, now what should the probability statement be? Say x is equal to 0 almost surely, right. If x equals 0 almost surely, expectation of x equals 0. So, G equals 0 mu almost everywhere means G is 0 except possibly on a set of mu measure 0. Okay. We do not know what this mu measure is, it may be Lebesgue measure, it may be some other measure, but on a set of mu measure 0 it may be non zero, but everywhere else it is 0. Okay. That is what this means. How do you prove this? You can prove this from the definition. It is because see you have to approximate from below, G has to be approximated from below with simple functions, correct. So, if at all, so if you want to look for simple functions which are lower bounding G, those simple functions can be non-zero only on 0 mu measure set, correct. So, all these guys will have 0 integrals and you are taking supremum of 0, right. So, let me write this down. For all proof, for all q in S G, so okay, so for all q in S G we have q of omega equal to 0 for all omega such that g of omega equal to 0. Implies for all q in S G, integral q d mu will be 0. Is that clear? So, q of omega, so whenever g of omega is 0, q of omega has to be 0, right. On the set where g of omega is non-zero, q of omega can be anything less than g of omega, but the set where q can be non-zero has measure 0, right. So, this has to be, this integral of q has to be 0 for every q in S G, correct. Therefore, the supremum of all these numbers is also 0. Okay. So, it is although this definition is very difficult to use to compute integrals, it is already helping us prove some not very trivial properties. Okay. Sorry, q of omega being a simple function is always non negative, right. Simple functions are defined to be non negative, ai little a I is always greater than or equal to 0. Okay. I have not come to talking about integrals of functions that can take negative values as well, I will. Okay.